Okay, I just wanted to post up a quick little review on the new Prism 4D stunt kite. It is a ultralight, super light, whatever you want to call it. It only weighs, I think, 2.5 ounces, which is extremely light. Um, Now, this is coming from a relative, noob or novice, whatever, to the sport of stunt kites or kites in general. But I have noticed that it is quite a bit lighter than my Prism Quantum. Um, that's a good thing. The only thing is I noticed that like the spreaders, the frame in general, are quite a bit thinner. I mean, that's pretty obvious. Common sense says, if you want to make something lighter, it's going to have to be a little bit smaller, um, and obviously lighter weight materials. One thing I do want to note that with the smaller frame though, the rods do bend a little bit more, and at least they bend and not snap. They'll actually double over almost completely. Um, I would say before they snap. Um, Obviously, I haven't snapped one yet. Probably will just because I'm rough on things, but I'll order new ones from Prism or wherever. But anyhow, they do. A lot of places will say that you can bend those rods completely over, so I wouldn't worry too much if you do like an unintentional tip stab that's coming in a little too fast or something. But um, probably not the trick that you're going to be shooting for, but just kind of one of those things. If you do that or lawn dart it, I wouldn't worry about too much. It seems to be a pretty tough little kite. Um, the only thing that I was really concerned with going into this purchase was with the knocks on the very tip. And reason being is they'd had some issues with, they were supposed to be tied with, I think, a clove hitch from the factory, and a lot of them weren't. Mine, either it was tied from the factory, or somebody at Chico Kites, or Gone with the Wind, whatever you want to call it, um, they may have tied it for me. But I checked both the knocks, and they're both tied with a clove hitch. It looks like, anyways. I haven't taken it loose to verify it, but it seems to be. So I'm not too worried about the knocks coming off of the edges there and stuff. So hopefully they'll stay put. Anyhow, on to other things here. As you can see, the rods here are, I don't really have anything to compare it to. I guess I could have took the spreader out of my Quantum, but rods, like I said, are pretty thin. They'll bend a little bit. After looking at this kite and kind of seeing just how, small some of these are, I can definitely see the rating where it's, rated a maximum of 15 miles per hour wind. But, you know, um, you got to kind of compromise somewhere with, a super light, kite like this. And I'm not really worried about it because very rarely do the winds get over, 15 miles an hour where I live in Kentucky. So this is actually perfect purchase for me. I love my Quantum, especially for the price. It's hard to beat any kite that's made even fairly decent for $100. Um, but I got frustrated because my Quantum just would not come up over or under. Usually 5 to 8 mile an hour winds is about the only time it would even think about coming into the air. And this little thing, I'm pretty sure, will float if you just step backwards. So I'm pretty happy with it, just looking at it. And hopefully here I'll get a chance to fly it soon. It's raining and storming outside here, so we just had a big storm front roll through. So it'll probably be a few days before I get a chance to fly it, and then want to get comfortable with it, and then I'll post up another video of me flying. Maybe I'll have my wife film or something, and you guys can see just how badly I do fly. Um, but anyhow, like I said, I bought this kite to get into flying a little bit more where I don't have to rely quite so much on higher winds. And I do think this pretty much fits the bill. For $100, you can't really, I don't really see how you could, beat this thing. Um, Now, one little nifty thing is the case that it came with. Um, And I actually ordered mine from Chico Kites. You might actually be able to see it there. I'll put the link on the sidebar. Anyhow, Steve runs Chico Kites and the Gone with the Wind forums. Super helpful. They're actually the ones that led me to the 4D. And I actually had him put me an extra set of 20-foot lines in there. That was kind of the big suggestion everybody was going for. So it has the 50-foot lines and then the 20-foot lines. And I believe they're 50-pound test. If anybody wants to comment on that and correct me, feel free. But anyhow, I got the 2 line sets, and I'll probably start out on the 50s just because I'll be kind of zipping around the sky. I'm not really trying to do any tricks with it, but I will switch over to the 20-foot lines pretty soon. I like the little finger straps that these come with, and I love this case. The case is really, honestly, it'll be what sells it for a lot of people, especially people that travel a lot like me. Me and my wife are on the road quite a bit, mostly for recreation. We don't, not really for business, but you know, we are on the road quite a bit. So it's nice. It's a nice little small case. It's quite a bit shorter than any of the others I've seen, and it's padded. I mean, it's super nice, and I don't think this thing next to somebody sitting on the case and bending it in half, I don't think anything's going to get broken. Anyhow, it came with a little bit of documentation. The only thing Prism didn't include was they didn't include the instructions. I'm not really complaining about it because they got these things shipped out super quick, being that they just released them not long ago at all. And they also, I think one of the reps maybe, or Steve, one, got on the forum there, and they, you know, he said that you know, you can get on the Prism site and download the manual, which I will do because I need the manual for the bridle adjustments. But not really. I'm not even complaining about it. It's not a big deal to me, and it won't be a big deal to any person that's got enough sense to get online and get the instructions. It would have been nice to include them, but I don't care. Anyhow, let's see. I'm trying to think of any other little details going on this. Any other little issues or whatever? I haven't really heard of any, other than like when people flying gusty winds, a big gust will cause the these bars to come out of the center tee, but I don't anticipate a big problem with it. One thing you guys might want to do though, and this is just me, my own opinion, and obviously everybody probably should have at least some Tedlar tape or some kind of tape like that to repair their kites in their kite bags. But you might want to invest in some of that because, you know, if you do fly in gusty winds, it probably is likely to pop out and, you know, may poke a hole in your sail. And I've not poked a hole in any of my sails yet, but when I go to pull those spreader bars out especially, sometimes it'll jab against the fabric of the kite, and I figure it's only a matter of time before I poke a hole in it. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. You have ultralight fabrics. They're high-tech, but not high-tech enough to prevent some goof from stabbing it with a carbon rod. So, but like I said, overall I'm very impressed with this kite. I personally wish it would have a little bit more reinforcement on the nose, but then again, it's not really a heavy kite, so it doesn't really need a lot of reinforcement as far as that goes, unless you're just planning on dragging it through the grass somewhere. But other than that, it's a really good kite, and I think I'll get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and hopefully it'll kind of take me to that next level where I can start learning tricks, because my poor Quantum, I love it to death, and it was a great kite to start with, but it's so hard to sling around and really do tricks with it. So, and one other quick thing is the edge right here. There's the connector is in here somewhere, and that was kind of confusing at first when I first put it together, but I've, you know, obviously figured it out really quickly. But you guys want to be careful when you go to put this thing together, otherwise you will poke a hole in that edge and stuff. But you know, common sense should say that you're dealing with a super light kite. It's not going to be as tough as a lot of these other kites, so you need to take a little bit extra care. But if you spend $100 or more on anything, you know, like this, you'll do it. You know, you'll take care of it. But anyhow, that's pretty much it. If you guys have any more questions, just leave a comment or get on gwtwforums.com and holler at. See you.